Hello and welcome to Pineapple Talk. I'm Mia, founder and president of Pineapple Support, a charity I set up in 2018 for people working in the adult performance industry. We offer a support tech service provided by trained volunteers and online therapy service staffed by qualified counsellors, psychologists and psychotherapists.
Hi, and I'm Shelley, and I've been involved with Pineapple Support since its conception.
If you'd like to find more information on Pineapple Support, you can visit the website, which is pineapplesupport.org.
So this session is our first of a 4-part series focusing on remaining motivated in challenging times. All of our guests have careers in the adult industry, so we're keen to hear their thoughts and opinions in what has helped them when facing challenging times.
So first up, we have Nyxon. Hi, it's been ages.
Oh.
Nyxon was meant to be visiting us in Ibiza in May. Was it
Last April?
April?
Wow.
Oh yeah, because you were going to come for my birthday. Yeah. So one of the first questions we have is to kind of tell us about your 2020, and obviously you missed my birthday, so the whole year's been terrible. But first, I know you had up on your Facebook recently, you've been in the adult industry now for how many years?
2020 marks my 13th year.
13 years since you started fetish modeling.
Yep. In October of 2009, I went full time. So I had a pretty good high-paying job in the makeup industry. I worked for MAC Cosmetics. I was a salaried employee. And on January 3rd, 2008, I was let go. So I freaked out, and then I collected unemployment. And during that time, I decided to work on some freelance, to try to get involved in freelancing. And I'm originally from Pittsburgh, so the city of Pittsburgh. And I got a job once a week doing makeup on a local bondage production that's no longer there. But they hired me once a week, and I did that. And I realized I can make more money in front of the camera. So then I just started doing a couple of shoots that year. And then and I had gotten a part-time day job in the meantime as well, as supplement. And then spring of 2019, like early spring, like it was still really cold up there, I flew to Florida where it's not very cold. And I worked for 10 days, and then it was a second job. And then October of 2009, I went full time. But yeah, 2008 does mark my 13th year as being in the adult industry.
So how is that transition?
My 13th year.
2020. Yeah. Let's not hope it's 13 unlucky in 2021 again. Lucky. How was the transition for you going from obviously, kind of paid a salaried employee to suddenly working for yourself? Because that really does take a lot of focus and self-discipline.
It was, it does take a lot of focus and self-discipline. Luckily, I have that. And, I'm creative in multiple forms. And one thing I think when you're in business for yourself, you have to also be financially creative. And a lot of people don't realize that. And to be honest, the job that I was let go of set me up with so many life skills and business skills that I've been able to transfer into this business, luckily. So, when I was working for Mac and I had to make the numbers and things like that, I had to figure out how to do it. Not only did I have to know how to do a flawless face on somebody, but I had to figure out how to make the corporate numbers. And how do you do that? So you have to be financially creative. And it wasn't easy the transition. It was easy and it wasn't at the same time. Like, it seemed almost natural for me to transition into that, but not having that steady paycheck every other week was not easy.
Wow.
So I had to rebudget and figure out like, what is my budget? What am I making? Like, and things like that. But
that's motivation in itself.
Yeah. I mean, money is sounds so trite. Money is my biggest motivator. And I don't mean that on a superficial level. I just mean like, when I transitioned from the full time to this, your money isn't consistent. Like, I don't care who you are, your money just isn't consistent. And it certainly is not consistent in the, when you're a fledgling in this industry, or any industry where you go into business for yourself. And, you just don't go to work and collect a paycheck and it is deposited into your bank every week or every other week. You are responsible. You're solely responsible to bring in your own income. And that can be scary for some people. To me, I like a challenge. I'm pretty tenacious. So I looked at it as a challenge and something that I was going to do. But there were times when like I was broke. I mean, I was broke. And I could have gotten like a part-time day job, but I just didn't want to because I'm stubborn, which may not always be like a good quality. But but I felt that it would take away, like the time spent at the day job to make the money to meet the bills would take away from my ability to create what I wanted to create with the self-employed job. Does that make sense? And luckily I was in a position where it was only me. I'm not married, I don't have a household or children or, responsibilities to take care of, which if I did would have been a whole different story. But, I guess I'm poor this week until I work again. And it only really affects me. So I was a little fortunate in that. But money is the biggest motivator to me. And once my career was built and I was starting to gain some notoriety and the work was more steady, I knew what it was like to be broke, and I don't ever want to go back there again.
Yeah, no, I think it's great that you've brought that up, because it is a huge misconception that people who work in the adult industry, they're all raking it in. They're all making so much money.
Oh, I'm a millionaire in my onesie. Don't let me fool you. I'm just being modest. No, really, like it's hard work. And I mean, anytime anybody goes into business for themselves, you have to work extra. Like, when I worked for other companies, meaning like day job, vanilla jobs, I wake up in the morning, I'd get ready, I'd go, I'd do my time, I'd punch out, and I go home. And then once I'm home, once I punch that clock and I get in my car, that's my time. I can do whatever I want with it because there's no work to do because I'm off the clock. But, when you work for yourself, you're kind of never really off the clock.
Yeah. How do you manage that with your time off? I know it's something that I've found really difficult, and I've had to be really strict with scheduling because it becomes all consuming.
Yeah, absolutely. It does become all consuming, especially when you get, at least for me, I get caught up in, I need to do more work. I need to pull in more money. Oh my God, sales were slow. Sales are slow all the time. Then they pick up again. It does even out eventually, but it's for me, I'm like, oh my God, today was a slow sales day. How can I get more sales in? What can I do? Can I do extra? And I found myself, even up until recently, it's 1 a.m. I should be in bed, but there I am editing clips and trying to post and promote. I'm like, there's nobody even online at that point, anywhere in the world looking at my stuff. What am I doing? It's really hard. And, one of the great things about being self-employed is that you can make your own schedule. The problem is most of us, I think, forget to do that. I forget to do that. That's why I'm up at 1 a.m. doing stuff. But, once I was like, this is really unhealthy. I'm doing more work with no reward coming in for the extra work that I'm doing. I'm really just spinning my wheels at this point because I'm having anxiety about, I don't want to be poor again. And I really just needed to calm down and get sleep so that the work I did during the day, during normal hours, was a higher quality work with less mistakes.
I was just thinking it's interesting hearing about your motivation, because that really sounds, how you're speaking, Nyxon, is that actually you had bundles of motivation, and absolutely, of course, money, keeping a roof over your head, paying the bills, for all of us in life is that kind of
Yeah.
basic motivation, isn't it? Before anything else, keeping ourselves alive. But just hearing you speak there, it sounds like, that it wasn't about you not being motivated in a sense.
I was probably overly motivated.
I'm just really curious because seeing how, it must have been really challenging when you lost your job and there was a drop off. I imagine there must have been a fall, and then when did you kind of pick yourself up and go, right, okay, how am I gonna?
I freaked out. It's not only that I had a steady paycheck, like I had like a salary job, and in the early 2000s, the money that I made was really good money for someone of my age, which at the time was, I think, 32 or 33 or whatever. And for what my responsibilities were at that job, like the cash was fat. And I also had a 401k. What's that? I had retirement. I had like benefits. I mean, I think the days of those benefits are long gone in most industries now, but my benefits were so good with that job that in 2003, I was in a motorcycle accident. I was hospitalized for a week and a half. I was off work for 3 months. And the benefits were so good. After all of that, I only paid $35 for the hospital stay. And that's because I used the phone and wanted an allergy pill. And then I got workman's comp. So my bills were paid. And I was broken sitting at home. So I wasn't out spending money. Do you know what I mean? So like, it was a good deal. And then all of a sudden on January 3rd, it was just taken. I probably contributed to being fired, but it was taken away from me. And you have that moment of, oh shit, am I going to need to go on food stamps? Well, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, but you think that, like, what's my next step? What do I do? And then I cried. I was like, ah! And then I was participating in club sports at the time where I had to pay to belong. And I called someone on my team and I'm like, I have to quit because I now have no money to do this. And it was something I poured my heart and soul into and spent a lot of money on the years prior. And there's the, you go home and you're angry, you're like, screw those people. And, it's all the emotions. And then, 2 days later, you're like, well, this is your life and you can either roll over and die or you can just go do something and not let it beat you. And that's when I went on Model Mayhem and I created a makeup artistry profile. And I did some, little gigs around the city. And then I got the gig with the bondage production company. And then things just kind of went from there. So, I think it's natural to have those couple of days of, but then you really have to. And I battle with depression. Like, it's not easy for me. But I think my stubbornness kind of works in my favor. Because I'm like, I won't let that get me. I won't. It's consumed so much of my life, especially the past couple of years going through what I went through personally. But I'm just, I won't let it, I won't let it get the best of me. And that's, not everybody is capable of that. And that's also hard as well.
Yeah, in the time that I've known you, which has been 7-8 years, maybe?
Yeah, at least, yeah.
Closer to a decade, maybe. You've never seemed like you're stuck. You're always moving forward. You've always got ideas. You're always working. When you've been here to stay, I know that in the morning when I'm kind of sloping around, getting my coffee and trying to wake up, you are in bed, awake, with your laptop open, already working. And when you go to bed, you're uploading movies, you're editing. It's constant.
I've learned to not do that anymore on vacation, just so you know. I've learned to enjoy myself since you see me last.
Because that's it. Is making sure that you do give yourself that time off when you're too motivated.
Well, also too. There was also some technical reasons for that. Like my laptop, I have this beautiful iMac now that works better. But it was the time. It was being unable to preload all the things before I left. Yeah. Kind of. Do you know what I mean? Like there's also some personal stuff going on that nobody knew behind closed doors. So, and I won't get into that here, but there was reasons my work wasn't done before I left. But yeah,